Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bayport, Michigan, where we are going to be starting a brand new city today. And so let's go over the map real quick. This map is actually called Bayport, Michigan, and that's where I decided to take the name from. And it is a real city within the state of Michigan in the United States of America. So this map is created by Rafterman NZ. And so if you're interested in following along, go ahead and check that out on the Paradox mods. The reason I chose this map is because of the extensive detailing. I felt like it really lends to a more realistic start, but then also a more challenging one. This map is actually very challenging to build on. A lot of the custom maps, along with new tile upkeep cost, end up costing a lot. And so we're going to really have to battle a lot of financial challenges along with a lot of the challenges that already came with Economy 2.0. And so let's go ahead and dive into some of the bigger aspects of this map. So first off, the rock quarry. This rock quarry is absolutely amazing. I love how it looks. I love the details in it. I love the integration of the grass along with the rock. I like that he got these little lakes in there as well, and he even integrated some of the lakes within the rock quarry. I think this is really cool. Honestly, this is probably the best rock quarry I've ever seen, and it's honestly given me a lot of inspiration because I never really thought about like breaking it up like this. This isn't entirely realistic. I don't know if a rock quarry would necessarily look like this, but within this game, it just looks really good. I absolutely love it, especially he's got a couple little plateaus here too. And then he did a lot of details for the farmland as well. You can see there's a lot of little houses with some assets next to them, like grain silos and stuff like that. And I absolutely love it. I think it's really cool. And one of the more interesting features of this map is all of these are actually broken down into the expansion permits or the expansion tiles. And so we're going to have a really fun way to incorporate a more realistic approach to building. And so we can say that maybe a developer purchased, 2 plots of farmland out here and decided to do like a master plan community, or even, say a bigger company came in and just purchased a whole slew of them. And so we are going to be doing votes for expansions in this because there's just going to be a lot of decisions when it comes to expanding. And so look out for my polls and stuff. I think it's going to be a really fun way to kind of get everybody involved. I've seen other creators do it, so I've been itching to do it. And so let's go ahead and get it started. So the starting tile is right here, and you'll see, similar to what I had said about the expansion permits already, the shapes are not actual squares, and it lends itself to being a really cool building environment. I do want to make this kind of like a guide for anybody who's new, and so there are a lot of things that we're going to be going over. If you're a seasoned player, then you might already know them. I'm not going to be spending too much time on them, but I do want to mention it for anybody who hasn't started a city. So we are going to be getting rid of that road. Sadly, it is a road that is in the real Bayport, Michigan, but I really want to move this connection because I've built this city quite a few times already, and this connection ends up being a pretty big problem for us. So we're going to go into the roads tab. We're going to grab a medium road and go into 4-lane road, and we're going to bring this all the way down now. And one of the interesting parts about this map as well, because he used anarchy when he buried a lot of these oak trees, you do have a little bit of an issue when you're building on top of them, and so you do need to pretty routinely go back and remove these. And so it does kind of suck. I'm going to do my best to not remove them all because I do really like the aesthetic appeal that they provide. But it does create a challenge for us whenever we're building roads or anything like that, especially close to the coastline. And so now that we have that, let's go back into our roads. We want to create an arterial network, and this is something that can really help your city out a lot. And it's something that I put a lot of time into. So I think what we're going to do is choose this center location right here, and we're going to go all the way down. And then what we're going to do on this side is come off from that junction, and I want to go out probably about right there, and then I want to begin to turn this direction. And I want it to be kind of level with that plot of farmland right there. Then we're going to come all the way down here, and we are going to come off at a 90-degree angle, and there is a power line over here, so we do need to kind of be mindful of that. So now that we have our main collector / arterial network in here, what we want to do is create some sort of grid pattern, or at least some sort of design. One of the reasons why cities use grids so much, it lends itself to being easy to navigate. And so we're going to draw that in there in the middle, and then I'm going to come out 200 meters, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it in. And then what I'm going to do is actually go all the way down on this side, and we're going to create probably 3 rows of this, and then we're going to go ahead and do it on the other side as well. And just a few moments later, I am finished. So I ended up doing that 200 by 120 grid, pretty much going all the way down. I did end up doing that little road cutting in, and then I didn't have it connect up on the edges just so that we could kind of control traffic a little bit. And then I did make a connection up here as well. I think it would be really smart for us to get a roundabout in here, just because this is really going to help us to keep the traffic flowing. And that's going to be super important for us. This is going to be a big road. As we start purchasing out other tiles, we will be able to upgrade this. And so now we are at a place where we need to think about some of our utilities. So I think what we're going to do is grab a small road, and I want to come off over here and do our power plant. Probably be able to connect this up at some point, maybe even do a bigger road of some kind. But we are going to be utilizing the coal power plant. We can also utilize the transformer station. It requires you to have to switch over to the coal one pretty quickly, or you to upgrade with development points. And so I think by placing the coal power plant first, it just makes it a little bit easier, especially you can export the electricity, so you do end up kind of making up some of the cost. The coal does still cost more, but it does kind of balance out a little bit. And just with that, we hit milestone 1, Tiny Village. Congratulations. Thank you, game. Your efforts are bearing fruit, and your city has taken its first steps towards success. Perfect. So we got 25,000 simoleons, we got 1 development point, and we got 4 expansion permits. Fantastic. And so that actually did unlock medical and the landfill as well, so we'll be able to place those down. So let's go ahead and go like this, and then I think what we're going to do, let's go ahead and trim this back a little bit. I'm thinking the landfill would be good for us to put right here. We are going to have to be mindful of residential close by, because if we have it a little bit too close to our industrial, it's going to create some issues. So I think what we're going to do is place this like right there, and then I do want this to come off at a 90. I'm going to create a little square, but I am going to leave about 1 square's worth of space around the outside, and that's so that we can do trees around and just kind of create a barrier for this to make it look a little bit better, in my opinion. So then we will utilize the line tool, go ahead and turn on anarchy. Let's drop our spacing down to probably about 6 meters. And then we will go all the way down. Let's actually bump that up to 7. Yeah, we'll go just like this. Fantastic. And then come all the way down here, and then go ahead and go like this. And what this does is it really helps to just kind of shield the people in the area from the fact that this is a landfill. They're already going to know this is a landfill, especially once it starts piling up, but it does make it a little bit better. And so the goal is for us to probably do office space around here to kind of give it a little bit of a buffer. And then let's also place down our transformer station so that we can turn our high voltage electricity into low voltage. And then what I think I'm going to do with this, I really like to have kind of, you know, that electric look. And so what we're going to do is actually go like this and then have it connect up. I think that just makes it look a little bit better, and it kind of designates this area as the power plant, because we are going to have to expand probably with another coal power plant at some point. And so I think that's a pretty good start. Let's go ahead and place down our medical clinic as well. We do want this to be kind of in a centralized location because it's our first one. So I'm thinking in this area would probably be good. Let's go ahead and bring it back 1 so that we can leave some space for some walking paths. And then let's do our water as well. So there are 3 options with water. You have your water pumping station, your water towers. I do have some extra water towers from assets I've gotten off of PDX mods. And then you also have the groundwater pumping station. So normally I would do the water pumping station because of our water here though, and it's kind of stagnant. We have to dump sewage into this, and so I don't really think having our water pumping station out here right now is the best call. And so what we're actually going to do is create a road, and I do want it to kind of follow along that 200 meter mark. So we'll probably go 200 out, and then let's go down and then have this come up. And then we do need to get our sewage outlet. And so we are going to grab this, and I think we're going to put it out on this little island. We want it to kind of be in the current a little bit, and there's really not a whole lot of current in here. And so I think by placing that there, it kind of increases our chances that maybe it's not going to pool up. That's one of my biggest gripes with the sewage outlet, is it just, you know, creates a puddle of pollution, which is really not great. And so I think that's pretty good right there. We need to start zoning some stuff in, and basically what we're going to do, we are going to be utilizing the marquee tool. And let's, you know what, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Let's actually jump over to the zoning toolkit. I want to remove zoning off of these side roads. This is going to be pretty important for us because we don't really want the homes or even the businesses to be facing these roads. These are more like streets or collectors that are going to help funnel traffic onto the main road, and it's really going to help our traffic out a lot if we can just eliminate buildings from being on here. It kind of messes up your grid as well too. Like if you zone stuff in, a lot of times you'll get like a home that's sideways, and it just doesn't look as good in my opinion. All right, and just a few seconds later we got it all in, so let's jump back over to our low density residential. And I kind of wish this was full zoning. That's a little frustrating right there. So what we are going to be doing is we're going to be doing 3x grids going all the way down. I really like the size of the homes, and I think it lends itself to more of like a small town vibe. So I think we're going to start off with that. And then whenever you start your city, you don't really have a ton of commercial demand. So we're going to try to be careful with what exactly we zone in. So I think we're going to do a big one right there. We're going to do a small one right next to it. We'll do a bigger one. Then let's do a little bit of a smaller one. And then this will kind of be like our shopping corner for right now. Commercial demand really doesn't bounce until your wealth starts to increase. And I think it's kind of funny because in the initial game, commercial demand stayed pretty consistent in the early game. But now with Economy 2.0, it's pretty much non-existent until you start to get your residential wealth up, which is kind of cool. So it's like people wouldn't be opening up, local businesses because they wouldn't have a lot of money. And then people wouldn't be shopping because they wouldn't have a lot of money either. And so I like that, it kind of plays itself to be a little bit more realistic. Like you wouldn't really have a lot of shops in a small town. You would have a few, like you would definitely have, like your grocery store and your little market or whatever, like to get food, but you wouldn't have like a whole slew. You wouldn't have like malls and stuff like that. I do wish that this was our proper spacing across. I think we skipped one in there, which is a little bit frustrating. I think what we're going to do is bring this one out, and then let's go ahead and measure this now. So we'll come out 200 and have this cut across. We do need to be careful with this. I do want to keep that grid pattern, but once we get over here, it's going to be a little bit iffy. I'm wondering if maybe we can just have it dump in. Yeah, you know what? That actually looks pretty good. And then that way we can come in here, and I don't want to just zone it all in. We are going to zone in quite a bit, especially as we start to grow. We will start to just zone in whole blocks. But I really want to capture different sizes in here. I don't want them all to be the same. I want, small warehouses. I want kind of more slender buildings. And I think it just looks a little bit cooler, especially with industrial. We got industrial, we got residential, we got commercial. It does help if you don't just blanket zone everything, especially in this game. In Cities Skylines 1, you could get away with it, but in Cities Skylines 2, it does create a little bit of an issue. So I do find that it's better if you just do a little bit at a time. And so we are now at a place where we can unpause and start welcoming in our first citizens, which I'm super excited. So they're already building. We got some people hopefully coming down our road here soon. We got a truck right there. Fantastic. And so our demand is slowly creeping up. It looks like we actually might have a little bit more commercial demand, which could be cool. I wonder if we can squeeze in just a little bit more off this main road. I'm wondering if, so I think what we're going to do, let's go ahead and do just a little bit. We don't want to get too crazy with it. Probably go like that. Yeah, I think that's probably good. And then we'll let that kind of subside for right now, because I think maybe if you do full zoning, it'll collapse a little bit faster. So we're going to bump up that speed, let this come in, let our demand increase. And we actually do have medium demand already. And so I think for medium, what we're going to do is create some rows over here. I think it's just going to lend itself to create a really cool look. And so we're going to follow that same kind of theology with the 3 deep. Especially with medium density, I think it looks a little bit better because you don't get those big backyards. And let's do just a little bit of commercial. Let's do a little bit of commercial off this main road. And then let's go ahead and shift this over probably by 1. Yeah, there we go. And then let's remove the trees that have now made themselves known in this area. Perfect. And then let's do a walking path across. And there we go. And so we do definitely want to prioritize walking. I think it would be smart for us to maybe get some pathways in right now before we really start getting crazy with the zoning. So what I'm thinking, let's bring this all the way down and go all the way across. And then we'll probably just eyeball the rest of them. It's not going to be too disruptive. We are going to be mindful of these crosswalks in the middle though, especially once we get road services. Going to turn off zoning or turn off snapping except for snap to grid. I find snap to grid just works a little bit better with pathways, especially if you're working in like a grid environment. I think that looks pretty cool. I like having those paths on the side. And then let's go ahead, bring this all the way down. Let's do another one over here. Fantastic. This is really going to help our city to stay on top of that traffic. The more that you can build around walking, the more people will walk. This is actually one of the biggest shortfalls of American cities is they don't tend to build cities to be able to be walked. They build cities to be able to drive. So let's go ahead and bring this all the way across. Let's have it do across as well. I think that could be good. And then let's have this go down. Maybe this will be like a little commercial strip we have. And then let's do our pathways in here as well. Kind of wish we could get this exact, but of course, it being 200 across gives us an odd number of actual squares, which kind of sucks. Looks like we're already getting some taxis coming in on this direction, so we're definitely going to have to be careful of this connection. This is a pretty good connection, though. For right now, we don't really have a lot of access. We only have this road, and then this road down here. And so we definitely are going to have to expand accessibility as we start to expand a little bit more. So let's go back into our low density. And before we do that, we hit milestone 2. Fantastic. So we got small village. Congratulations, you are moving ahead very nicely. Thank you, game. So we got 50,000 simoleons. We got 2 development points, and we got 5 expansion permits. And that actually reminds me, let's jump into the economy tab real quick. Go into our services, and let's dump anything that we're really not in high need of right now. We're going to drop healthcare just because our population's not too big, and then we're going to drop garbage as well. Those do have an impact on your overall land value, though, and your upgrade ability and overall happiness of your sims. And so you really want to be careful. You don't want to leave that like that. So let's go like that, and then let's bring this all the way down. I don't think we're going to go on that far side. I think this would be a good location for some higher density uses, maybe even mixed use or something like that. It's kind of like our main street. And then let's come over here. We do need to get some more zoning, and it looks like I actually messed up with the zoning toolkit. So let's bring that back. Let's do our industrial, and then we're definitely going to need to do our farming. Getting your actual processing in, farming, rock quarry, stuff like that is super important in this game, especially early on. In Economy 2.0, your biggest challenge is becoming profitable. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is through your farming, especially through vegetable farming. And so let's go ahead and start focusing on some of that. Let's get rid of some of these trees real quick. Population's booming. We could even, let's go ahead and zone in some more just to let it go while we start focusing on our farms. So we'll come all the way down here. Let's go 3 all the way down. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and do 3 on this side as well. And then what I'm thinking, so we want to turn a lot of this into farmland, but I also want to leave a little bit of it open for us to do some more residential. So I think we're going to come off from this direction. We're going to go across the train tracks. And then I want to come down. We'll probably come down right about here. We do want to come off at a 90, and we want to line up with that road. And then we'll connect it up right there. And so the idea is probably to do a residential expansion on this side and then fill in the rest with farmland, because farmland is super important. We definitely got to get this going. So we're going to come all the way up here. Let's connect this up. And then I do want to follow kind of the same design ideas that are in the rest of the map. And so there's a lot of squares, kind of broken up squares. And so we want to kind of capture that same vibe. I think it would just make a little bit more sense. And then for the opposite side, we kind of need to do the same thing. So we'll have this come down at a 90. And then let's go ahead, have this come down, turn it a 90. And then we'll have this turn as well. Maybe that bottom section's a big farm. Yeah, I think that could be cool. And then we'll come in here, do some more grids, especially once our residential demands it. I think for right now, we're doing pretty good. We definitely, once we get our industrial in, we do need to get our schooling, because that's really going to help us to boost up our residential even more. I'm guessing that's why our demand's probably pretty low. But let's go ahead and get these in. So we're going to go into zones. We are going to go into specialized industry. And we want to get a mix of grain farming, vegetable farming, textile fiber farming, and livestock. The reason is because some of these tend to be a little bit more profitable than others. Vegetable farming in particular tends to be a little bit more profitable than grain. But as your city expands, this is really where the more money can be had for a lot of these uses. So we are going to go next to the road, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stay 1 square off. I really want to have about 1 square's worth of space. So we'll come up here, have this go to square, and then come all the way down. I think we're probably going to have to fix that. I don't know if that was perfect. And then let's go up and go next to the road, since this would already be our land. Yeah, you know what? That actually looks pretty good. And then for across the street, let's go ahead and do carrot farm or vegetable farm. And voila, our first signature building, the Rock Musician Mansion. It's kind of funny. I don't really place that one a whole lot. I actually don't know if I have placed it. It is a pretty cool building, but it's just not one that I've built like an area for yet. Perfect. And then let's get some textiles in here as well. I think this could be good. So we're going to do a small road going in. And then what the road does is it allows you to just have a more centralized location a lot of times with these. And so I do tend to use them for the farming. I don't really use them for the other industrial uses. I mean, the quarries are actually, they can benefit from it, but. And then let's go ahead and do just a small bit of livestock in here. There's a lot of fertile land in this map, and so I'm not really worried about having to put livestock on fertile land. It does kind of suck, but it is something that cities do sometimes have to do. I mean, cities start to just build the city on top of fertile land at some point, and so. And voila, just a few seconds later, we got it all in. And so this is really going to help to boost our city up. And you can already see that we have dropped our loss down quite a bit, but we do need to get our schooling in. This is going to be super important. And we need to get our death care in. I actually totally forgot. That was huge too. So I do want to put our death care kind of off this main road. A lot of times in smaller towns, cemeteries are in more of a centralized location. So I kind of wanted to capture that. And here we are, Milestone 3 unlocked, large village. Congratulations, things are looking up. Thank you, game. So we got 75,000 simoleons. We got 3 more development points, which we haven't purchased anything yet. And then we got the 7 expansion permits. We got quite a bit. Let's go ahead and remove the trees that are kind of protruding onto our poor cemetery right there. And so now we have cemetery access, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and do our elementary school as well. And I think what we're going to do, I think this would be a pretty good spot right here. And I kind of want to do, I have access to these small parking lot roads. I think they're the Mio roads on the Steam Workshop if anybody's interested. So we'll go ahead and go like that. And then let's do this right there. And I actually got perfect with that size. It's kind of crazy. It actually looks pretty good though. I like that. I like having the parking lot in there. I think that's a really good touch. And then we do need to get the high school as well. This one's a little bit bigger. And so this building's kind of tough. Okay, and so now we need to figure out what we're going to do with our high school, which is a little bit bigger. And so this is a little trickier. And I would prefer to have it in like a centralized location. So I'm half tempted to actually get rid of one of these. And that's actually a pretty good connection right there. I wonder if we can move our medical clinic. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. We'll probably move it over here. I think that's a pretty good spot. And then what we can do is come in here and remove this. It does decrease accessibility over here, but honestly, because it's not one of the throughput roads, I'm not entirely worried about it. And then what we're going to do is grab our high school and we want to put it on this side. So I want to probably put it like right here. And then I do want to do some sort of parking next to it. Especially in North America, having parking next to high schools is fairly common. It's kind of like a rite of passage to get a car when you're going into high school, and so having extensive parking is pretty common. I know in Europe this probably isn't the case, but in America it definitely is. Yeah, so if we go like that, that looks pretty good. I'm half tempted to just slide this over a little bit because it did kind of disrupt our walking path over here. So I wonder if we can just shift this over, and of course all the plants appear. So we'll go like this, and then let's now go into landscaping and remove all of these plants. We need to uncheck that. Yeah, there you go. That looks a little bit better. Having bushes and stuff inside of our walking paths, I just don't know how I feel about that. I don't think that that's the best. And then let's go back into our walking path. We want to probably delete this and redraw it. Yeah, it's going to be our best bet because it's already looking a little iffy. And that way, I mean, having walkability is pretty important. We do want to encourage people to walk around. And then I think we're actually going to turn this into some sort of school grounds. I know we don't have enough space to get the stadium in here, but I think that this is a pretty good location. I like that we got the elementary school over here and then we got the high school kind of in the middle. I think that's nice. And we're actually looking pretty good. So our low density housing demand is spiking again. So let's come on over here and we're going to do another row of 3 going all the way down. And it does look like maybe I messed up on some of the zoning over there. I'm half tempted. Let's go ahead and remove those and maybe we'll do some parks or something in here. I think that that could be a good spot. Let's let these homes come in now. Yeah, there you go. They're coming in. Fantastic. And then we do need to get just a little bit more industrial. We're really not doing a whole lot of industrial over here. And I'm half tempted to kind of trim some of this back. I think we may have brought this a little bit too far for our total buildable area right now. I like this overall look, but I think if we were to just trim this back maybe 1 to 2 and sadly get rid of some homes. Yeah, so if we go like this, we're just doing that. It was my mistake. I did it a little bit too far, and so what I want to do is trim this back by one lot. And so this is really going to help us to just have a little bit more space, which is going to definitely help our industrial. I did get a little bit ahead of myself with the industrial. And so I think it's a little bit better for us to get, we're going to need just a little bit more. Yeah, if we go like that. Perfect. And then of course this one is a little bit off, so it is going to ruin the dimension of our lovely grid just a little bit, but honestly I don't think it's the end of the world. It's the industrial area, and so having it off by one square I don't think is going to destroy everything, though we could also just get rid of this and redraw it in. That could be interesting, but it's also this road too, so we'll just say that this is probably accurate. And then let's come over here. We want this to go straight and then turn. Fantastic. And then I do want this to kind of connect up. I wonder, we should draw this out 200 just so we can kind of see what we're working with. I don't even know if we're going to be able to or not. So we'll leave it like that for right now. And then I think we're going to go ahead and remove zoning off of this main road in here. I think it's just going to be a little bit better for us. And it's going to allow me to zone on that full zoning in there, which is going to be good. So let's come in here, go to our marquee tool, get out of that view and start zoning some of these in. We can unpause, let these come in, go like that. Fantastic. Let's get a big one on the end. Yeah, that's good. And then let's do the same thing in here. We want to vary the sizes. It really makes a big difference. And one of the cool things too, if you do a bunch of the smaller ones, you can have a small road kind of cut in here and become like a little bit of an alleyway. So like we could have this kind of cut in and then even kind of turn a little bit. Yeah, if we go like that, nice. And it just creates like a cool little look. It's not something that you have to do, but it's definitely, it does create a cool look. And I don't have zoning on that, which is fantastic. So we'll go like this now. Let's skip one. Let's do a big one. And then let's go ahead and do a smaller one over here. Nice. And so this is really going to fill in. We could do an alley in here as well, which could be cool. I think that could be good. Yeah, so if we go like this, and then you can even do like little inroads as well, like turnarounds. Maybe this is like a bay of some kind for the industrial area. Given it does break up the grid a little bit, but honestly, I think it looks cool, and so I think it's worth it. And so now we do need to get some medium density housing in again. Let's go ahead. We're just going to use it all the way down. I know this is kind of like a main road, but honestly, it's the back road. We would prefer people to be using this as a main road. And so I feel okay with putting that there. So we'll go like this all the way down. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and bump up that speed. And we should start to really make money here soon. So let's go ahead and check out. So we're losing about 100,000 a month. Let's check out production, or actually no, taxes, and go into industrial and just kind of see what we're working with. So we got vegetables making 42. We got grain making 30. I don't think textiles. Yeah, so 16. Vegetables, definitely the breadwinner early on. I would definitely focus on vegetables. And so we could increase taxes. It does have a downward impact on wealth though. And so I do prefer not to mess with that. I would rather us mess with our service budgets. And so did we not do fire and rescue yet? Wow. So I guess, so it was on the last unlock, and I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself because we were doing that industrial area. So I'm actually going to borrow probably 200. I don't want to get too crazy with it because honestly, we're so close to running positive right there. It actually looks like it went down quite a bit. Yeah, with the new industrial. And so we do need to get these in though. This is a must. This isn't something that we need to kind of play around with. So let's go ahead and put our fire department right there. I think that's a pretty good spot. And then our police department's going to be a little bit more expensive. So 160. Let's go ahead and borrow that again, and don't be shy borrowing money early on. I know it sucks, especially coming from Cities Skylines 1 where you almost never take loans. It is common within this game, especially early on, to take loans. There is a way to do it without it, but honestly, I think with the waiting and everything, it's more worth it just to do it. And so I like this location. I think it's got good access going all the way down to our industrial area. It's also got good access over here. And so I think that's a pretty good location. I'm tempted to even branch off and do another industrial area up here. I think that could be good with it being so centralized, and the downwind for the pollution is going to be going this way as well, which is good. That definitely is something that you want to pay attention to. You want to go into the info views, go into air pollution. Whenever you're doing your industrial, you want to make sure you're not going downwind. The regular industrial doesn't really have a huge impact, and a lot of the industry doesn't either. But your heavy industries, like your coal power plants or even a lot of your specialized industry, does have a pretty big impact. And so you got to be careful. So I'm looking at this. I think this is going to be a good spot. So if we draw this out now, and I don't even know, I think there's a power line right there. There is. So let's go ahead and shift this power line over. And what I'm thinking is just to kind of split up the industry areas. This can be really good for you. And I like that it's over in this area as well with the train. And so this would be a good spot for us to incorporate maybe even like a cargo train of some kind rather than having to like wrap this around, which I think we may end up doing anyways, because we're not going to want to purchase squares all the way back here. So it's probably going to be smart for us to try to get this over here somehow, probably maybe even fork off. But it would be good to maybe get a cargo terminal in there as well. And so now let's grab our small alley, do our little road in the back. And so now let's go ahead. We're going to put them off of this back road. I think this is just going to be a little bit of a better spot. So it's going to allow that front road to be utilized for transportation. It's not going to be hindered by the traffic. Of course, that one went sideways. So we may end up changing that. But I think for right now, we're not going to mess with it. I do want to get some spaces in here, though, because we do want to do things like parking and things like that. And so let's actually go into our development points. And I want to get road services first. That's normally what I get. Let's get parking areas. And let's go ahead and do roundabouts, too, while we're in here. We still got a bunch of development points. We're not going to mess around with anything else just yet. I think college is probably going to be the first thing we do, just because working on the education pool can really do huge wonders for your city, especially for the wealth. But I think that's pretty good right there. So we got a nice little row of industrial. It's got fantastic access to our highway, which is just great. That's really the key right there. And then our low density residential demand is creeping up again. So let's go ahead and grab some more, and we're going to follow that same kind of thing we've been doing. Let's leave that empty, because maybe we could do some sort of commercial or something in there. I think that could be fun. And then let's go ahead and bring this down. We're getting crazy today, man. We're doing a lot. And then let's fill in this strip that we have. I think this is a good spot. And then we still got room over here too. Let's go ahead and fill in just a few of these. I think we're going to do one row back here. I think we may do some commercial in there just because I think that's a really good location for commercial. And then let's come in here. We're going to do 3, and then we could do some commercial or some sort of mixed use in there if we wanted to, especially, we still have medium density over here. So let's go ahead and bring that across just in case that creeps up. And then our industrial demand is creeping up pretty fast. So I think we should probably just chisel away at this, make it a little bit better. We did unlock parks recently, and so we do want to put those down as well. And so milestone 4, perfect. Grand Village, congratulations. Thank you, game. The city is coming along nicely. So we got 100,000 simoleons, we got 4 development points, and we got 7 expansion points, which, man, we're not even messing with the expansion points yet. The expansion in this map is definitely going to be one of the most challenging parts, playing on 100%. Tile upkeep costs, and so we are definitely going to have to pay attention to that. And so let's go ahead and remove zoning off of these side roads. It's kind of bothering me a little bit to have this on there, especially for an industrial area. This would just create a hindrance for these people, and so we really don't want to create any unnecessary challenges. So now that we have that, we can come in here, do full zoning pretty much. Let's do some smaller ones as well. Let's get a bigger one, and we'll go like that. Fantastic. And then we are going to probably demolish a few of these just for some parking. I think industrial areas specifically tend to have a ton of parking, and so they do tend to look better if you can get some parking in here. So I think what we'll do, let's go ahead and demolish that, and then let's demolish this one right next to it and see if we can get full zoning. Perfect. And then these people have been here a couple weeks already. They're probably going to be very upset about that, but looks like somebody else has already grown in, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and put one over here too. Parking does really play a big role in this game as well versus Cities Skylines 1. You can actually go into your traffic, and is it traffic or is it roads? Yeah, so roads. It actually tells you parking facility availability and like how many people are using it and stuff like that, which is a really cool metric. And so with that last unlock, we got quite a bit. So we got more industrial, we got some offices, which we're going to start placing down. I think we even got high density. Yeah, we got low rent housing, which is fantastic. We got transportation. I don't think we're going to dive into any transportation this episode. I would prefer us to keep that for next episode, just because I really want to put some time into it. I don't want to just start laying it down and, being all willy-nilly with it. And so let's place a few of these, and I would prefer these to be kind of symmetrical a little bit. So let's go right there. And there you go. Another signature building, Ball Turpines, a stone monolith that diversifies and enhances its surroundings. So we'll go like that. Nice. And so we actually kind of copied it a little bit. I think it just lends itself to look a little bit better, in my opinion. So we'll come up here, do the same thing. Let's go like that. And then let's come over here and do the same thing. Kind of reminds me of like Savannah. Savannah has their downtown kind of decorated around parks. It's actually really cool. There's a lot of really cool history around Savannah. It was one of the first city planned cities in the United States. And so like its whole road layout looks really cool. And they did a great job on it, especially for the time. So we will bring this across now. Let's come all the way over here. We do want to stick in the right spot over here. Yes, we're gonna go like this and then bring it up, and then we're gonna use this for an office park. This is gonna be kind of like our buffer zone for the industrial area, and it's really gonna help itself. It's really gonna help us to kind of split it up, So we'll go like this. Let's come over here, go like this. Let's go ahead and put in a small parking lot in the middle. Parking is equally important for offices. Parking is super important for offices, and it looks like we kind of messed up our zoning over there, which is a little frustrating. Let's go ahead and draw in a small pathway, and we're probably going to do this as like an extended sidewalk. So I will keep it. So we'll go like this, go like that. Fantastic. And then let's go ahead and draw this in as well. Yeah, there we go. And then that way it gives us full zoning over here. And then it even gives us the opportunity to maybe do like a small cul-de-sac in here. I think this could be good. So if we go like this, bring this back. Yeah, there we go. It is always better to have at least two connections with stuff like this in case there was like a fire or something. You wouldn't want people to be stuck back there, like say one of the buildings, caught a blaze or something. But then let's go ahead and put that in there. Let's do this one as well. And then I think we're going to leave that side empty. I think that looks pretty good. I think we will probably do more off this backside. I think this could be good. So if we do like a row, and then we got a small little office park. Super easy. We really didn't get too crazy with it, but you know what? I think it looks good. And then now I do want to start doing some of our low rent housing. I think that that's going to be a good addition. It definitely helps with household wealth to have low rent housing. And so I do want, it is something that we want to prioritize. Yeah, there we go. And then we do need to remove our lovely buried oaks. Let's go ahead and jump in here, increase the brush size again, and then remove all these. It kind of sucks. I'm trying not to remove as much of the landscaping as I can, but with the buried oaks, especially further down here, it's just a little tough. And so it is something that I want to try to be mindful of, but at the same time, we're building a city here. And then we are going to remove the oaks again. I think it's because he used anarchy when he was building the maps, and so as a result, the buildings or the trees don't have conflicts with buildings or roads or anything like that, and so it does create a little bit of an issue for us. We don't want oaks like going through buildings and stuff. I don't think that that's the best. So we'll go like this, and then let's go ahead and do just a couple small parking lots. So let's go ahead and have this one just come across. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot. And then that way we can actually come in here, and we'll probably play whack-a-mole with these because I do want them to be similar buildings. We want to kind of turn this into maybe like a complex of some kind or something like that. And let's go ahead and grab some apartment buildings as well. And I think we're going to do, I think I'm going to remove zoning. Yeah, so we're going to go like this. I think this is just going to look a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. And then let's remove those, get that coming in again. And so our medium density demand is coming back again. Let's come back over here and increase our row housing. Come all the way down. Fantastic. And of course, I didn't remove zoning off of this road, and so we definitely got some problems over here. Let's try that again. So we'll go in here, update, and then our low density demand is coming back. Let's come on over here, grab our low density. This is actually gonna be really cool. This is gonna be it's gonna kind of remind me of an actual small town. Because a lot of it's going to just be these seas of, low density houses, which we are going to come in here and do trees and stuff and really kind of bring it all together. It does look like our power is running into issues. I wonder, yeah, no, we didn't mess with that. So we have a couple options. Let's go ahead and check it out first and see how big our deficit is. So we're running right at And you know, it's so funny. We actually weren't selling our electricity. We didn't connect it to outside connection. Man, I completely forgot about that. You know, it's because the lines in here. So one of the things you definitely want to do is connect this to one of your outside connections. Because we created a scenario where we weren't exporting the electricity, we were literally just wasting it, and that's a huge thing. We are running positive already, but it is something that you do want to be mindful of. And so now we are purchasing electricity. Let's go ahead and check to see how much we're spending. So right now we're not spending a lot. We're spending less than it would cost to actually build a new coal power plant. So I think we're going to we're going to stay with it for now. And just like that, milestone 5, perfect. We are now a tiny town. Great work. This is a major step forward. You are on the way to greatness. Thank you, game. I really appreciate it. We got 125 simoleons. We got 5 development points, and we got 8 expansion permits. We're getting kind of crazy. We're definitely getting big. We're already at about 5,000 population, and we are still booming. Our office demand is creeping back up again. I think we're going to use this space for more office. And then our industrial demand is still pretty high. And so let's go over here and start building out some more. Come over here, go like this. And then let's do some big ones on the backside. Why not? We'll go like that. Nice. And so that should help out a little bit. Our little industrial area over here is definitely going to help out quite a bit. I think this is actually really smart. So this wasn't initially part of my plan. And so go ahead and let me know what you guys think about having a small industrial area in here, because we are going to have to expand and probably do more residential. But I think by having this here, it actually makes it really nice. It's not going to be a big industrial area. And so I think it's a good spot, because we could even take like some office space as well and maybe blend it in here. Yeah, there you go. So these would be like your supplemental buildings to the offices in there, or to the industrial. High density is already coming in. And so this is a good example of what I'm trying not to do. So I like this building. I think this building looks fantastic. This one with the parking lot and the little trash bins, I don't think that looks great. I think the parking lot is a little too big for what it's trying to do. I don't think it's a good use of that space. And so now let's come in here and let's go ahead and do low rent housing. We really got to be mindful of that building. I might even go in to find it and just select that, because I like that first building. I think that looks really cool. And so our low density housing is coming back again. Let's go ahead and do one more row of housing over here. We still got quite a bit of room. So we'll come all the way down, and then let's go ahead and grab that road now. Come this way. Fantastic. And let's go ahead and check out how much this tile is over here. So it's a lot. So 500,000 simoleons cost, with 250,000 simoleons a month. And the overall cost for the tile upkeep is calculated by the amount of resources. So like this has a ton of groundwater. It pretty much has everything except for ore. And so it just makes it so that this land is pretty expensive. It would be kind of cool maybe do an oil industry out there or something. I think this would be downwind from the pollutants. And so I don't know how that'll work, but I think looking at that ground, I think it might look really cool. Let's go ahead and remove the trees. I think for right now, we're just going to turn the road, because it's not going to make sense for us to purchase that. So I think what we'll do, let's go ahead and turn it this way. And just a few seconds later, we got it finished. And I'd like to get this up here. I don't think that this is going to be capable of going in both directions though. So I think what we're going to do is just turn that like that, and then we'll keep this like this. I guess I didn't do this road either, which would be good. So let's have this come down, connect up, and then let's go into our parks again. I do want to get a couple small parks. So we got our parks right there. Let's go ahead and do them going this way. Yeah, go like that. And then let's go into zoning toolkit, and we want to remove zoning off of these roads. Looks like it's already pretty much done, but we definitely want to ensure to do that. And then let's go into our low density now and just come all the way down. And we should start to get our commercial demand here soon. Our citizens should be doing pretty good in terms of overall wealth. But what we can do is come in here and check out happiness, kind of see what's given us an issue. So right now our unreliable healthcare coverage is a big one. So let's actually come in here and bump up that service now, because we did have that at 50%. Let's go ahead and bump up garbage too. Yeah, while we're in here. And then education's pretty low. I wonder if we can get away with it being 100 now. Let's go ahead and do 100, and then we can always check it out. And then let's raise up roads. And I think that's pretty much everything. You could also continue to play around with those. We're now running positive. We're not running very positive, but we're running positive enough to where I would rather have the benefits of of those services, especially you can see all these ambulances, like there's problems. And so we could even do, let's see how much is a stretch. So we got 5 vehicles. This would add another 5 vehicles for $3,500 a month in cost. Let's go ahead and add it. I think we're getting pushed to our limits over here. We definitely don't want these notifications popping up. These pop up when it's already been there a little too long, like the person's been sick or they had a heart attack or whatever. And so it's kind of an indication that your call time is just a little too high, your response time. So we're looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and add in our post office as well. So we got the small post office, which gives us 4 post vans. We could also do the big one. Let's go ahead and add in the small one. It's kind of funny. This is the first time that I've been in a brand new city with the small one. And so I think it's a cool building. I think it would be better if it was off the main road. Yeah, if we went like that. Because a lot of times, I mean, post offices aren't very hidden. Like you would want this to be in a location where they could come and, you know, like drop off their mail. They'd normally be like maybe a turnaround with a little bin or something. I think that's a good spot. And then we could come through and place some mailboxes as well. I think I'm just going to stick to major roads. So I'm going to do one over here. Let's go ahead and add one over there. And then let's come back here. And this is going to create like a loop for our people, which I think will actually help, will contribute it to higher efficiency maybe. You would think that it would make it a little bit more efficient maybe. I don't know if it does, but so I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and add in one back here as well. And then let's, I think the industrial area is doing pretty good. We could also do a telecom tower as well. These are pretty important. Having internet, especially in today's day and age, is kind of seen as a necessity. And so not having internet would be a huge thing for a lot of people. Let's go ahead. I want to add it in to kind of like a cool spot. So this is all owned by the power company. We could put it into this office park. Sometimes what will happen is like a telecommunications company will actually approach a landowner and pay a lease on something like this. And so you would pay for, you know, like that fake palm tree or the water tower or whatever they decide to put up. And so it's kind of cool. I've worked for a property before. We got approached by Verizon for a telecoms tower. And it was kind of cool to see. You know, I was like, oh man, I guess I never really thought about that. Let's go ahead and add one over by the school as well. I think that's a cool spot. We are still having, man, we got a lot of demand in this area. It looks like this area is like the big one. I'm tempted to try and slam it in there somewhere. I don't know if we're going to be able to though. So that definitely gave us a lot of overhead. And so we're running negative again. We're not running negative a lot, but it's still enough to where we should be worried about it a little bit. And so what I'm going to do, because our industrial demand has been very high, I'm actually going to increase it a little bit, and it's going to help us to just kind of chisel away at that a little bit. We could also do office demand. Office is a little bit more sensitive to tax changes. And so you can see like our office demand pretty much collapsed. And I think that's because of overall profitability. And so we're going to go ahead and keep that at 10. It definitely, so it ate away about half of it, which is pretty good. And so once we paid the loan back, honestly, I think that we'd be pretty good. So let's look at this. Service trades, we're running $30,000 a month in electrical. We definitely got to look at that coal power plant here soon. Service upkeep, which is quite a bit. So loan interest, so $30,000. So we could get rid of $60,000 a month just by purchasing a power plant, which I don't know if it's still worth it at this point. So if we check it out, it's a huge overhead cost first off. So we need $100,000, but then we're going to be paying 5 to 45. So let's see what this other power plant is making right now. So the cost is actually $100,000 a month. That's a lot. So we're only paying $30,000 a month right now for electricity to import it. So I think for right now, we're going to keep it that. So let's come over here, place some more medium density housing. Let's only do a small row, and then let's not do this area over here. We do need to fill in this small space, so let's get rid of that. We do want to leave space for commercial, especially as we start to get bigger. So I think this looks a little bit better. This is the same building, which is a little frustrating. I'm going to delete that one more time, and we'll see. We may even just change the size of that because, yeah, I don't really want that building in there. I don't think that is a great building. So let's come over here now. I want to do another parking lot. It's a little bit of a bumpy ground over here. That's why we're dealing with this kind of terrain. Let's maybe move it in a little bit closer. I think we're getting rid of too much buildable area. Yeah, so if we grab our parking lot road, let's come back here now. just come over off this side and put our entrance in over here. I think this is just going to look a little bit better. Yeah, I think this is going to look good. There we go. And then that way we have quite a bit of parking, and then we still have quite a bit of buildable area. So we'll come over here, fill that in. Let's go ahead and fill this in. I think we're going to leave these spaces for parks. We definitely, especially, I mean, big areas like this normally have quite a bit of parks, and so that would be good. And look at that. So we're already running positive. Fantastic. And we're still running positive even with the service trade and our loan interest, which is huge. And I kind of like this area. I'm not a huge fan of the parking lots. I think these ones around are good, but I don't like that we keep getting this building. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to trim this down one. Yeah, we're going to go like that. We need a different building in there. Yeah, if we go like that. And then let's come over here. We need to do some more low density housing. All right, so I think this is looking pretty good. We are having a little bit of traffic issues over here. And so what I want to do is upgrade some of these roads to asymmetrics. This is really going to help with traffic. And so I think it would be smart for us to even do it up here, go like that. Let's go ahead and go like that. Fantastic. Yeah, there you go. And then let's go, you know what, we're going to turn this into a roundabout as well. Yeah, we're going to go like that. And then let's upgrade our roundabouts to slightly bigger ones. It's just going to help out. Yeah, it's just going to help with traffic. So that should honestly greatly help out with this connection. Asymmetrics can do wonders just because it allows to have that second lane for people who are going a different direction rather than just smashing everybody into one. Probably be good for us to get one down here as well. So we'll grab that asymmetric. Let's go ahead and upgrade it. And I think that's pretty good. So we could change this into a 4-lane as well. I think we'll probably end up moving in that direction. So that looks pretty good. We do still have the train crossing in there, which does kind of suck. But honestly, I think that this is good. And there we go. Milestone 6 unlocked. Boom Town. Congratulations. You are moving ahead very nicely. Thank you, game. So we have gotten 150,000 simoleons. We've gotten 6 development points and 10 expansion permits. We've really gotten a lot. We got a lot going on. And what we have unlocked is some policies, which we really haven't even dove into districts or policies yet. And we've kind of played around with a lot of pretty much everything at this point. All right, and so we're starting to get some commercial demand now. Let's go ahead and jump into that. We don't really have any commercial at the moment, so we would want to get at least some shops going. Let's go ahead and place those down. And then I think we're going to do a few on these sides as well. I don't want to get too crazy with it. We do still have some space over here as well. I'm tempted to do... I'm thinking maybe even like a small office park in here. I think that this could be good. Yeah, if we bring this back and then let's go ahead and have this come up and then turn. And then we are going to do just a small cul-de-sac. We're not going to get too crazy with it, but and then that way what we can do is do a small pathway around. This would be like your extended sidewalk. We're going to leave it like that on that side, but then let's do some offices in here. It's good to separate, like spread out your office and your industrial uses. It's going to really help your city out a lot. And so let's go ahead and do one right there. And then let's do a parking lot in the middle. And then let's go ahead and do just some small apartments in here. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I don't want them to be huge. We just want some small little apartments in there. Yeah, there you go. Nice. And let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side. And we don't want that on the end. And this is just going to help create like a small little like high-rise district, nothing too crazy. It is kind of in front of the elementary school, which is kind of cool. And so I think that's going to be a pretty good little spot. We may still play around with this, honestly. Let me know what you guys think. But I think I'm going to go ahead and jump into a detailing time lapse. We got some of these little barren areas. I'm really itching to just get some trees in here and really fill all this in. Don't worry about a lot of the empty space right now. This is going to be for future growth. I tend to leave spaces empty because this is just a little bit more realistic. Like when a brand new city is sprouting up, it wouldn't be a perfect square by square zoned in. You would have a lot of empty space. And so I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you on the other side. All right, so after quite some time, I am finished, and I did end up making some changes to our two kind of medium density developments, and then I did add on a few things to our main street as well, just because I felt like these two developments in particular just looked a little bit weird, and because of our commercial demand, I did end up just using Find It, and so I ended up using the same buildings going all the way around because a lot of times the same architectural firm will be in charge of the whole thing, and so I felt like it was just going to capture kind of a cooler look if I did this, and so I really do like the overall appeal. You can see with the billboards that a lot of these are empty, but as our city expands, these will start to get filled in. I think this looks really cool, especially first versus my initial idea and what we had going on. I think this looks a lot better. I did end up doing some of the grim grass in there too, and then just kind of put some trees through there. And then for our two schooling areas, I did some ground. So I did mowed grass, and then I did fences going all the way around with hedges for our high school and then small bushes for our elementary school. I did end up having to upgrade the capacity for both of these as well. We are definitely at the limit for our education right now. And so on the next episode, we're going to be bolstering our education. I did also have to expand out our landfill as well. This is filling up pretty quick. So I think we're going to end up purchasing a development point. We're going to end up spending a development point on the recycling center. I think it's a really good investment, especially early on. We definitely have a lot that we still need to work on, but I think this looks really good. And so the hope for the next episode, we're going to work on garbage. We're going to work on some more housing. So we're going to be purchasing some squares. And so what I'm thinking, we have a few different options. We can go this route, which adds in 182 simoleons a month in tile upkeep, or we can also come this way as well. Honestly, we may even go both, but then I'm looking at this square too. We should be able to expand out. It would be good for us to be able to expand out our agriculture, maybe boost up our vegetable farming a little bit more. We are making some pretty good money now, and so we do have a little bit of room in terms of tile upkeep. And so if we go into loans, we can see we're in surplus 508,000 simoleons a month, which is a lot, especially considering we haven't really boosted up our taxes at all. I think our taxation is only up for industrial, and honestly, our industrial demand is still pretty high. And so go ahead and let me know what you guys think. I like the overall look of this. I like this neighborhood as well. I did some medium density row housing. I kind of put a couple offices in there too. And then I did a couple higher density apartment buildings. I think it looks really cool. I think we definitely covered a lot of bases too with the offices. We really did a lot on this episode. And so we have a lot that we could do. I like the look of this area. I think that this is a really cool area. But let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this episode, you will definitely enjoy the episode on your screen. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.